live at 12:45 with Kristen Bomas, and with me today is Claudia Barrington, owner and operator of South Florida Thermography. So thank you for joining us, Claudia.
Thank you so much for having me.
It'll be fun. We're going to have a good time. So today is the last day of Breast Health Awareness Month, and we've gone through this month. We've spoken to women who have had scares, women who have survived breast cancer. We've talked to many people who have lost people to breast cancer. And what we have really wanted to focus on throughout the month is how we stay healthy as women. What do we do to keep our lives healthy and to take care of ourselves? Do we have our special days? Do we take special time? What do we do to make sure we're healthy? And so 2 Thursdays ago, we spoke with Bill Longstreth, and he spoke very much about, his preference of thermography over any other measure of screening for breast cancer. And so we today offer you the opportunity to talk directly to Claudia Barrington. So Claudia, tell us a little bit about how you got started in thermography.
Sure, it goes back to 1999. I've been a nurse by profession, and I was actively nursing back then, and I came across an article in a health magazine, and it was about the thermography and the safer, painless breast screening. I said, wow, this sounds really great. So I asked my nursing colleagues and my practitioners that I was working with, and nobody had heard about it. And I go, So I went back to the article, and at the end of the article, they had listed all of these facilities that were doing the thermography and using the particular equipment that they had discussed in the article. So I saw that there was like 5 of them in Florida. All right. So I started to call them, and when I asked if they were using it for breast screening, they kept telling me no, they were only using it for body scanning. So I was getting to the bottom of the list, and I said, okay, if I get another no, I get another no. So I called the last one, and I said, I sure hope you're going to tell me you're using your equipment for breast screening. And they said, no, but. I'm going, there's a but. I go, so what's going on? They said, well, we're getting ready to do a breast study. I go, all right. I said, sign me up. So I made an appointment. I traveled all the way up to Jacksonville, Florida.
And keep in mind, we're in South Florida, so that's a 5-hour drive.
That's a 5-hour drive. And I had the session done. I was thrilled to death. I said, wow, this is great. So I'm getting ready to drive home. And I get in my car and I'm going, gosh, this really needs to be closer to home. And I'm halfway home, I'm going, women really need to know about this. So by the time I drove into my driveway, I said, this is a done deal. I can do this. So that started the ball rolling for me. And it took me about a year, and I started the business, and that was 18 years ago.
That is so cool. And so I'm going to so that's how she got started. She's a pioneer in the state of Florida in thermography, which is a phenomenal pre-screening, is that how we say it? Imaging for breast cancer and other cancers, other body screening, as you can see as well. I'm going to stop talking and let her tell you. So tell us now, Claudia, about, so you got this going. Tell the women and the men out there what it is good for. What is thermography good for, and why have most people not heard about it? And I know I'm throwing those are 2 big questions, but go ahead and in your own way talk about those.
Well, thermography is a form of medical imaging. It's appropriate for all body scanning. Specifically, I use it more for breast imaging. It's non-invasive. It doesn't require any injections. There's no exposure to any radiation, so it's safe. It doesn't require any body contact, so it's painless. And it's been around since the 60s, actually, a long time, and it's used currently all over the world. So it's.
So this is not something new at all. It's something that is established. There's tremendous research supporting it, and it's being used frequently all around the world. Mostly in America, women don't know about it. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's unfortunate. I think they're not being educated about their options the way that they should be. And again, I kind of feel like our rights are being violated in that respect. We have the right to know and then make decisions based on, that information.
Absolutely.
Again, it being safer, we don't have to fear. We shouldn't have to fear our breast screening process for any reason.
Right.
And many women do. So they avoid screening, and that's not right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is the worst thing we can do, right? Of course, as Bill made very, very clear, the best thing you can do is your self-exam on a regular basis. Pick a day or a time in the month that you're going to remember to always do your breast scan, and that's really critical. And then, when it's time to get an imaging, to think about thermography as your first and primary form of imaging.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she's right. Again, we've talked about that this month, and I talk about it all the time on here. As women, what are we doing to gain the information necessary? We're certainly out there fighting for healthy breasts and healthy women, but are we asking about the results of what we're fighting for? What are the results of the research? We've got a lot of treatment results, but what about this imaging? What if it really does sit out there as powerful as it is, and you find out tomorrow that you could have used that instead of another tool? What would you feel like inside? So it's time for us as women to gain our education, to do our research, to ask those questions, and to make sure that we're tuned into our own body and doing what needs to be done. So tell me, I understand that thermography can actually detect an irregular cell growth or a cancerous growth before a mammogram. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, you have to understand the difference in the modalities. So mammography, ultrasound, MRI are all classified as structural in their representation. So whatever's there has to have grown large enough before they can see first evidence.
Right.
So typically that means whatever's there is about 8 years old by the time
Wow.
they can see it for the first time,
Okay.
because it has to grow large enough. So we're monitoring the breasts in a totally different way. We're looking at the vascularity, because we know the vascularity changes with tumor growth.
Okay, so let me stop right there. So when she talks about the vascularity, that means that when you have an irregular cell growth, it feeds off of your blood. So what vascularity is, those vessels are going to start to go toward that cell, right? That irregular cell, to feed it, right? So that's the vascularization, how it's starting to form around those irregular cells that now need food from your blood supply. Okay, so continue. I'm so sorry. I just wanted them to understand what vascularization was.
No, that's right. So we know scientifically that new we call it a vascular phenomena, begins to evolve in year 2 of the tumor's growth. Tumors take years to grow. People have a tendency to think that they kind of pop up overnight like a pimple, but they don't. They take years to manifest. Particularly to any size that's notable. So yes, so the vascularity is a key aspect of identifying and associating that there is an abnormality going on.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thermography uses heat, and?
Well, the imager is the imager is a thermal imager. So what it's doing is it's literally capturing your skin temperature.
Mm-hmm.
So your skin temperature is a reflection of the current physiology that's going on. So we can identify any inflammatory processes, nerve damage, vascular insufficiency. Again, that's all based on skin temperature. And many issues fall into those categories.
Right.
Yes.
So what you're hearing her say is that the thermography has the capacity to detect irregular cell growth of some sort years before some of these structural imaging tools do. And that gives you a much greater early detection than some of the tools that we are being told about. So let's imagine that you are doubtful of this. And so even though you're very, very doubtful, you can do your research. Start to look at the research that's out there on thermography and start to learn what it's about. And try thermography for yourself. It's very inexpensive. In some insurance policies, you might be able to get reimbursed, but honestly, for all of the women I have referred to thermography, we find that what comes out of our pocket is nothing more than what we would pay in our copay for the mammograms. So let yourself go to thermography and experience it. Get the results back. Go over them with your doctor and start to make your own decision. To spend a couple $100 at the most on your own self is worth it. So tell us a little bit more now. In your experience working with women, I remember when I met. Now, Claudia and I have been working together since the early 2000s. So you are passionate about women's breast health. And one of the things that always stood out in me is you always wanted to make sure that your business wasn't just about imaging, but really working with the women to be healthy, breast healthy and breast conscious and healthy otherwise as well. What would you like to say to the audience about that?
Well, yes, that is my other passion, is that there's so much that we don't know, or again, that we're not being educated about as far as what breast health means. So what influences are out there? We have to understand that the genetic link is only about 7% to breast cancer, and only about 20% of all women who develop breast cancer had a genetic link. So that is not a significant player in this and understanding this. So there's a much bigger picture going on, and we have to be alert to that. So it's our environment that's adding to our all the chemicals that are
toxicity.
Yes, the toxicity, our lifestyles, our stress levels, our eating habits or lack of eating habits, however you want to put that. It all plays a big part, much bigger. So that's where I want October to be the Breast Health Awareness Month, and because that's where we need to be thinking is how what can we do to ensure our breast health. So particularly even our vitamins, vitamin D, ladies, you need to be on the vitamin D. It is primary in your breast health. Also iodine, that's a direct connection, and that's a primary mineral of our breasts. So there's things that we need to understand that contribute internally. I call it an inside job. You know, you want to put it that way. But there's so much more. And we have to stop damaging our breasts. And in essence, we do that when we have a mammogram. We're exposing it to the radiation. The radiation is considered a carcinogen, and we're compressing them. So we're causing more damage, and damage is cumulative. So it sets the stage.
Yes, absolutely it does. So you're learning a lot today, and it's just a beginning. If you have been through thermography, teach the woman next to you how to look into thermography. And so, yeah, we have a question here about implants. You want to talk about thermography and screening for women with implants?
Sure, it's totally appropriate. When they put the implant in place, they make a little pocket on the chest wall, all right? So they slip the implant in, and whatever breast tissue that the individual has is out front of the implant. So there's no issue with us imaging that and getting information.
And along those lines, what about women who have already been through breast cancer and are now in the remission stage? What do you recommend for them?
Sure, absolutely, to continue their screening. And I highly recommend that women who have had breast cancer avoid radiating their chests as much as possible, because again, we know that that's a contributor, and they're already in a risk level.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot to think about here, but you've heard from two professionals over the last couple weeks talk strongly about these options, and it is time for us as women to help one another have a much better understanding of what's out there for us and our health. So before we close this out all on women, I have a lot of men say, can we use thermography for prostate cancer? And unfortunately, no, and I'll let Claudia tell you why.
Well, it's a simple little fact that there isn't enough surface area, because you would have to image between the anus and the scrotum, and there isn't enough surface area to gather enough information.
So you've got too much heat, right? So too much heat blurs the picture. And if you can kind of get that image in your mind, you understand that what you're really looking at here is, something that is, we're lucky. We're lucky we have this tool. We're lucky we can use this for our breasts. So why are we not using it? And it's also good, as you heard Claudia say about body scanning. And I will be posting some information about how to contact Claudia at South Florida Thermography, so that if you have any questions whatsoever about breast screening, about body scanning, and any other scans that you would like to have through thermography imaging, you can ask her directly. I'm sure she would be more than happy to give you all the information that you need. She's a wonderful woman to speak with, and even better to have in charge of your breast health, because she keeps you healthy, healthy, healthy. So I thank you so much for being with us today. Do we have any other questions out there? You know, I'm a little bit far and I can't see. Valentina, is that a question from Tina? No? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and close up. Is there any last minute thoughts you have for our women and men out there in the audience?
No, we just keep moving forward and hoping for, you know, broader knowledge and better education
And a cure.
and a cure.
So I thank everybody for joining me today, and for joining Claudia. Thank you so much for being with me today. I just love hearing you talk about all of this. I want all of you to remember that we're going to be back Thursday for live at 12:45. We also have our podcast and Christianisms on YouTube, so visit us there and subscribe for sure. And we have mantras in the morning. Mantras on the go. This is like, it's so fun. Like, right, we just named this program and I'm really excited about it. It's on Instagram. So if you aren't following me on Instagram, please do. And every morning we post a mantra that I've, you know, kind of put together. And it's just a simple sentence that you can kind of keep in your mind throughout the day, and hopefully it'll make your day so much better. So mantra on the go. Join us on Instagram. Follow us there. And I hope you really enjoy your mantras. And we really enjoy you supporting the program and being a part of all of this. So thank you very much. I hope you close out this October with a wonderful thought about your breast health awareness and all of those around you. And we look forward to the last 2 months of the year. Have a great day.